You're hacking.
Where are the other ones?
Gas is inbound. Marking the safe zone. Gas is inbound.
Nice.
Work is done. All enemies.
Good game, dude.
Yo,
Sorry I
GG's.
breathed in the mic like that.
You're
By the
good.
way, I subbed to your channel.
Oh, thanks. Are you the guy that was on top of the blue building I killed?
The blue building? Yeah.
Dang, you spectated that
And
entire
the guy
time?
you killed at the loadout.
GG's. Hey guys, in today's video, we're going to be going over some new Cold War Warzone news that was released today and over the past week. I'm going to start up with the most new, most fresh news, and then we'll get into some of the stuff that was released earlier this week. If you guys do enjoy this video, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you would like to see more, comment down below what you think of these changes and what you would like to see in Cold War Warzone. And let's get right into it. The first thing is going to be a recent post from an Activision employee on some random forum. This is kind of sketch, but everyone's running with it as if it's true and it's like confirmed information. So I assume the source is trusted. And someone was asking about how the engine will be handled when we get to Cold War Warzone. And they stated there will not be an engine shift for Warzone. It will still be using the Modern Warfare engine. And you might think, who cares? What does that even mean? What that means is the game is going to feel more like Modern Warfare for Warzone than it will feel for Cold War. If you played the Cold War beta, you know like the feel and the movement of Cold War is very different than Modern Warfare. There wasn't slide canceling to the same degree. Jump shotting and bunny hopping wasn't a thing. And also tac sprint was just pretty much non-existent. So I'm assuming since the Modern Warfare engine is going to be staying intact, the movement for Warzone will be staying identical to what it is currently. And I'm actually very happy about that. I initially thought the Modern Warfare movement was pretty annoying, but after playing Cold War, the beta, I think Modern Warfare's movement works so much better for a BR than what the Cold War movement would be. I really like the bunny hopping for peeking corners, and that would be different and weird to do without being able to bunny hop. Slide canceling in Modern Warfare can get annoying, but at the same time, it's nice for looting a building. Just go and play and loot a building without slide canceling. It's going to take much longer than how it is with slide canceling. I feel like the Modern Warfare movement is very fluid for a BR, so I'm actually happy to see that staying in Cold War Warzone. The next thing is going to be about the weapons. This tweet is from Tom Henderson. He's the owner and CEO of Viral Junkie, and he has been correct in the past. So what he says usually turns out to be true. A lot of times with Call of Duty, when there's sources that have been correct time and time again, they usually end up being correct. And he said, Raven Software will work closely with both Infinity Ward and Treyarch for the Black Ops Cold War integration. Essentially, Black Ops Cold War weapons will be completely rebalanced to match Modern Warfare's current weapons in Warzone. Black Ops Cold War weapons will not have a longer TTK than Modern Warfare's. This means that by the end of Black Ops Cold War's lifecycle, there will be over 100 different individual weapons in Warzone, and the next title to release in 2021 will also be integrated into Warzone, exactly the same as Black Ops Cold War. So this sounds good, like cool. If you buy a blueprint or a weapon, you're going to be able to continue to use that. But I feel like as time goes on, this is actually really bad. Having too many guns is not necessarily a good thing because it's hard to balance those weapons and give each weapon its unique feel and niche. You know what I mean? If you just have 100 weapons, let's say you have 30 assault rifles, maybe more, it's harder for those assault rifles to feel drastically different from each other than if you have like 8 per se. So it's harder to balance. It's harder to make every weapon feel unique. It's harder to carve out a niche for every weapon. It just feels like they're dumping a bunch of weapons into the game. And I understand why. Like, people who buy blueprints want to continue to be able to use those blueprints. And for that to be the case, you need to have those weapons remain in the game. But I actually think it would be better if they went for like a season model. So for Warzone, the floor loot changes out every season. For example, this season we have the Uzi, the Bison, and the P90 as floor loot SMGs. And then last season, it was like the Uzi, the AUG, and the P90. In the season before that, it was like the MP7, the Bison, and I don't even know what the other one was. They changed the weapons in the floor loot from season to season, and I feel like they could do this with just the loadout weapons as well. So like, let's say when Cold War Warzone comes out, you have access to all the Cold War weapons all the time in your loadouts. But every season, they pick a few Modern Warfare weapons to bring back into the game, and you can select, let's say, 3 weapons from each category, and then those weapons are usable in Warzone 2. Not only would this give us the ability to use our older weapons from Modern Warfare, it would make them feel like special and unique because they're not always there as an option, because when the season changes, they might not be there anymore. And it would actually help the meta a lot and keep the game fresh. Like, imagine if next season, the MP5 just wasn't in Modern Warfare. There would be a very different game, right? Like, the submachine gun meta is like dominated by the MP5. And there are some other options that can hang and stay up with it somewhat, but the MP5 is the clear-cut best submachine gun in the game. If it was just gone and they cycled it out after a season or maybe cycled it back in a few seasons later, whatever, if there was a more rotation of weapons throughout the seasons, I think that would kind of accomplish keeping like the old weapons usable and making people feel like they got their money's worth out of the blueprints they purchased. But it would also make it to where like the game stays fresh over time and isn't just like overwhelmed with the amount of weapons in the game. Also, when it comes to like the create a class for Cold War Warzone, I have a huge question of like what they'll do with wildcards, what they'll do with perks. Because, for example, in Modern Warfare, Ghost works all the time regardless of whether or not you're moving. But in Treyarch CODs, Ghost only works when you're moving. And I think that change would actually make Warzone a lot better and a lot more fun to play, because Ghost wouldn't just benefit campers all the time. Also, when it comes to wildcards, there's some that allow you to have 8 attachments on your primary weapon. It's ridiculous. Imagine if someone had like the meta AMAX loadout, but they also had tac laser, exo stock, and like rubberized grip tape or something. It'd be even more accurate, even more faster handling, and then still have all the other benefits of the AMAX. It's ridiculous. The perks. There's a wild card that allows you to pick 2 perks from every category. That would also be insane. Like, imagine what often happens now in Warzone is players get overkill their first loadout, so they get 2 primary weapons, and then with their second loadout, they get Ghost, so they have Ghost and 2 primaries. Imagine in Cold War Warzone if you get primary with 8 attachments first loadout, secondary with 8 attachments, potentially second loadout. You don't necessarily need to do that. I don't know if overkill applies the 8 attachments as well. But let's just say you get 2 primaries with 8 attachments, and then for your final loadout, you get 6 perks. You would be a monster. Like, there's like no world in which that is like remotely balanced at all compared to how Warzone is currently. I really don't like the 8 attachments thing. I feel like it would make the guns way too easy to use and pretty much invalidate any weakness the weapon has. The perk thing, I actually don't mind as much. I also wouldn't mind if perks stacked. I think they could experiment with that. Like, you would argue that like people getting multiple loadouts would have an advantage, but like if someone's getting a lot of money and being able to invest that money into their loadouts, I feel like they should get an advantage. So yeah, we don't know how the wild cards are going to work yet. The guns are all going to be in everything. And then finally, one piece of news that was revealed earlier this week is that Cold War Warzone will not be launching until December. So Cold War is going to come out in November, and then we're going to have like a month to maybe like 6 weeks until the Warzone version comes out. A lot of people are unhappy about this because they're only interested in Warzone, and I myself am mainly interested in Warzone more so than the normal multiplayer, but I still think this is fine. It gives you some time to unlock attachments and everything going into Cold War rather than just starting fresh with all these weapons without anything on it. I don't know. I think it's fine. I'm going to try to unlock the special camo before Cold War Warzone comes out. But what that also means is we're going to be stuck with Modern Warfare Warzone until December. So we're not getting a new map till then. We also don't know if we're going to be getting a new season. I might make another video on this sometime in the near future, but there may or may not be a Season 7 of Modern Warfare. I could see them adding another season and adding some more stuff, like a mini season, to like kind of pass the time until we end up getting Black Ops Cold War. But we're not 100% sure how that is going to pan out yet. There might just be like a month of pretty much nothingness in Modern Warfare, because as it is now, there's nothing really that's going on after the Halloween event ends. Like, there's just like a gap of like probably 6-8 weeks until the potential Cold War Warzone release. So I'm hoping that they add a Season 7 or a mini season, or just add some new content to the game, some weapon balancing changes, keep the game fresh between now and when Cold War Warzone comes out, because Warzone is its own community. There's a lot of people who only care about Warzone and don't necessarily care about the multiplayer aspect of COD. And I think that they will do something to keep those players interested. So that's going to be it for this video. I'm going to make more. If more information comes out about Cold War, make sure you subscribe stay up to date with all the Cold War Warzone news or just Modern Warfare, just Warzone news in general, I make videos covering all of these topics, tips, guides, whatever. If you did enjoy it, remember to give it a like, subscribe, like I said, and I will see you guys another time. Thanks for watching.